The following episode is sponsored by and made with the International National Trust organisation. We're having a short break over Christmas, but we'll be back in the new year with the usual back when stories. In the meantime, we wanted to bring you this bonus episode, taking you behind the scenes on a cultural exchange between two fascinating heritage sites.
And he was the first person from this part of the world to see that iconic and now World Heritage Site and one of the new wonders of the world that you are now custodians of.
William Banks was an English adventurer who lived at the National Trust's Kingston Lacy. How did he become one of the first people from Europe to visit Jordan's World Heritage Site, Petra? And what does the twinning relationship between the National Trust and the Petra National Trust in Jordan have to do with safeguarding the incredible history? Have you ever imagined being a fly on the wall of history? Join me for an inside view of the stories of people, places, and moments that made us. I'm historian James Grasby. Lean in for a tale from time, back when. Within the walls of Kingston Lacy lies a story of adventure and discovery. How did William John Banks, the man who inherited a brick house and recast it in gold and marble and fill it with treasure, become linked to one of the most mysterious cities on earth? He journeyed to Petra in Jordan, the city carved into the desert rock, and traces of that journey echo today in artifacts he left behind. Most importantly, the relationship between Jordan and the UK today are growing, as the Petra National Trust has twinned one of its properties with some from the National Trust to keep heritage alive and fight climate change. I'm walking up the drive at Kingston Lacy to meet Myrna, Huda and Mo from the Jordanian Petra National Trust to reveal something about William Banks's connection with Jordan and to learn more about the twinning relationship between the National Trust and the Petra National Trust today.
How do you do? How do you do?
Good, thank you.
It's such a thrill that you're here.
Yes, we're excited.
Members of the Petra National Trust. Here we are at Kingston Lacy in Dorset, what we consider in the National Trust to be one of the great treasure houses. It brings a tear to my eye, seeing it again. I was curator here for 25 years. It's called Kingston Lacy, Kingston, because it was the king's place.
The house was built in the 1660s for the Banks family, who rose from relative obscurity to become one of the most noble but untitled families in modern England. For 8 unbroken generations, they lived in it until it was given to the National Trust in the 1980s. But the key to the connection between Kingston Lacy and Jordan lies with one of the most extraordinary sons in the Banks line.
Now, one of the quirkiest members of the Banks family was this chap called William John Banks, who was interested in everything. He had a sort of delicious, childlike attitude to asking the question, why is the world like this? Why do people in different countries believe things that we don't in this country? How do they produce architecture and civilizations in a different way to ours?
In the beginning of the 19th century, William Banks went on to study at Cambridge. He was particularly interested in the Middle East and met other like-minded students, including one who was to shape the adventures he was to go on.
Johann Burckhardt, the son of a silk manufacturer from Switzerland, quirky and eccentric and like-minded William Banks was fascinated by the world. He immersed himself in the Arab language and Arab cultures and Muslim traditions and couldn't wait to see the Middle East and Africa. And he headed off and travelled on his way really to find the River Niger in Africa, but he went via the Middle East and heard whispers of this astonishing complex of buildings.
The complex was in fact the ancient city of Petra. Many of its buildings were carved into the rose-red cliffs of southern Jordan by the Nabataeans over 2,000 years ago. Once a thriving hub of trade connecting Arabia, Egypt and the Mediterranean, it's famed for its monumental facades, like the treasury and monastery which survive to this day.
And he was the first person from this part of the world to see that iconic and now World Heritage Site and one of the new wonders of the world that you are now custodians of.
As it was before the days of cameras, Burckhardt noted down as many details as he could about the location of Petra in notebooks and aimed to publish them when he returned to Europe. Sadly, he died in Egypt a few years after his visit. However, while he was still alive in Cairo, he contacted William Banks.
Burckhardt sent a letter before he died to William Banks saying, "I hear, William Banks, you're in the area, you're in the Middle East. Why don't you go and have a look at Petra? It is fantastic."
Burckhardt's letter included the details of his itinerary and how to find Petra.
And so in 1818, William Banks found himself with 11 mates in Jerusalem. And they were dressed in local dress. They were acquainted with the language. They understood to a degree the local traditions, could navigate their way around the communities. And with gold coins sewn to their underwear, with guides and with pencils and paper, they found their way to Petra.
Banks had travelled through Syria, Greece and Italy and was skilled in creating technical drawings.
They spent 2 days, intense days, in May 1818, drawing at Petra.
He returned to the UK in 1820 and provided many keys for scholarship in Europe to begin to understand Petra and its origins.
But the key thing when the Nabataean script, which he recorded very accurately, that William Banks, when he saw them and compared them with other things that he'd seen, suggested a date, and also that they were Nabataean, and also takes credit for being the first person really to bring to scholarship in this part of the world some of the early images that were fundamental in the decoding, if you like, into English, our culture, the heritage of your monuments in your country, which created such an incredible excitement here.
There are a collection of William Banks lithographic stones still in Kingston Lacy today. These are smooth limestone slabs that were used as early printing plates. The images that Banks sketched of Petra could then be easily reproduced on paper. His work helped to stimulate a deep appreciation of Jordanian culture in the UK, and now the team from Petra National Trust are here to further that connection in the present.
So to have you here, who are so deeply rooted not only in those cultures, but in the day-to-day care and the strategic future for those monuments in Petra, is absolutely thrilling.
Yeah, William Banks went on an exchange at some point, exactly like the one we're on. We're going to be talking about Kingston Lacey to everybody when we come back. It's very interesting to see that this kind of connection was always there. You know, like, people were interested in this part of the world, we were interested in this part of the world. This connection is not new.
It's not new, and it's cross-cultural, isn't it? It's a human instinct and that lovely childlike inquiry.
To explore.
To explore and to experience and
Absolutely.
to share in other people's
Yes.
culture and to be gripped by other views. It's so important, isn't it?
It's literally how you grow.
Decades on from William Banks' historic journey to Petra, the site has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Featuring in the movie Indiana Jones in the late 1980s ensured its fame increased, and millions of international tourists now visit the site every year. The Petra National Trust was formed in 1989 to protect it from over-tourism, climate change, and to keep traditional Jordanian heritage alive. What does Petra mean to Jordanians now? Myrna shares her thoughts.
It's very humbling to see Petra when you think about all the civilizations that passed there. And it's really a beautiful, beautiful sight to see. The most important thing that I see in Petra is, and makes me so proud, is built by an Arab civilization. And it represents me, my identity, my family, my history. Jordan is in the heart of the world. That's how I see it.
Another member of the Jordanian team is Huda.
I'm from Bedouin tribe around Petra, and I've spent much of my life deeply connected to Petra.
She is a Bedouin and grew up living a traditional nomadic life, herding cattle and sleeping in tents near Petra.
That experience gave me a passion for our food, our songs, a tradition, and the storytelling.
If you don't pass your knowledge on, what happens to your cultural traditions?
It will be lost. Yes, and these days it's very important to enhance awareness for the new generation how to preserve and protect their cultural heritage by knowledge.
Huda has taught thousands of Jordanian children the Bedouin customs that are so important to her. The Petra National Trust wanted to use this experience and inspire other young people in other sites around the country. One of the projects they took on was the conservation and renovation of a significant townhouse over a century old. Its name is Beit al-Jagbir.
Mo, what's your role with the...
I'm the head of programs delivery and development at the Petra National Trust. My background is in architecture.
Do you ever see much water in Jordan?
Rain is something that has definitely changed the way it falls in some places in Jordan due to climate change. The pattern is different. It used to rain a little bit throughout the winter. Now it rains like 3 days, heavy rain, and then it stops. And it's like the rest of this winter is just dry.
And the consequences of this are highly significant, I would think. I mean, not only as humans.
Of course, when you're looking at an old house that has been designed to withstand rain over extended periods of time, that is like a slow drizzle, and then suddenly just like give it a huge amount of water.
The whole structure was at risk. Mo goes on to explain the importance of the surrounding landscape and how this exacerbated the problem.
It's like this very intricate system of how like the water flows from the mountain to the valley and like avoids those places where people live and avoids the caves. So you end up with flash floods, you end up with extra salt in the rock, which ends up breaking it.
So tell me, what are the practical solutions that you're looking at in order to manage this rainfall?
You have to bring in experts in water and experts in heritage and experts in architecture and experts in like electromechanical systems. And you all sit down on the same table and you have a conversation. But at the end of it, you get out with a solution that everybody can work with and everybody can agree that this is the best way to go for the house. And so we can maintain it for the following generations.
The team had to manage how the rainwater reached the drainage, which meant excavating a floor to reach the pipes.
There was some cementitious materials on the ground, and so they rubbed them off. While they were like kind of removing them, they were like, oh, there's bedrock underneath this. And so they removed a little bit more, and they were like, oh, the original flooring is underneath the cement.
The find was hugely significant, as the original flooring had Jordanian designs from many years before. The team had to carefully excavate 10 to 15 centimeters on that whole floor before even beginning the work.
Conservation as a process, because it's not like a single act that you do. And while you're doing it, you will discover new things. Like we were just supposed to show up, dig 5 centimeters, put in like whatever we need to put in the tiles. Then we'll have a beautiful new space with beautiful tiles that were designed with like a local artisan. And then they showed up there and they're like, oh no, this just changes our entire plan. Now we have to excavate. In this part of the project, what we're going to try to do is to sample out different places where we're like, okay, we're gonna dig here, see if the original flooring exists. If it does, then we're gonna have to excavate the entire floor. If it doesn't, then great, we can start tiling. And then we're gonna go to the next room and kind of discover, like we're gonna discover things as the project goes.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's a wonderful example of what one might describe as tangible heritage of something dimensional in front of you. But there's a whole nother aspect of your work which you describe as intangible heritage. What do you mean by that?
Intangible heritage is, for example, cooking and dance and music, and how these things have also been performed and done inside these houses. I would say it is the stories of people who lived inside these structures and these houses and these cities or these spaces. And whatever has happened inside of them, be that the actual stories of the person, of the father and what he used to do, and the mom who took care of the kids and how they lived, and where they kept their kettle and how they slept.
The water management work at Beit al-Jagbir has now been successfully completed with new drainage systems. The work has begun to use the space to share the intangible heritage with young people in Az-Salt. One of those responsible for this sharing is Myrna. As part of the twinning, she is working with Katie from the National Trust's Buscott and Coles Hill to see what they can learn from each other.
I'm Katie Lamb and I'm the Senior Programming and Partnerships Officer at the Buscott and Coleshill Estate and also run the Children and Young People's Hub here as well.
Myrna describes the city in Jordan where the team are based.
I'm from Salt. It's a World Heritage City. It's a historical city that so many civilizations passed through Salt. It's built on mountains and you see the houses like they're on top of each other.
The City of Gold, am I right?
Gold,
it's nicknamed. It's beautiful.
The city is also famous for religious harmony.
It's well known for the Muslim and the Christian living together in peace. It's a model for the world, and we hope to keep this heritage.
As Salt sits on the old trade route between Amman and Jerusalem, perched on 3 hills above the Jordan Valley, and for centuries was a key trading and administrative centre linking Bedouin tribes, farmers and urban merchants. Hospitality was a key part of their culture.
The people, they're very welcoming. They are also very generous. So if you happen to visit Salt, people will see that you are coming from somewhere else. They will immediately invite you for coffee or even a meal. Our national dish is mensaf. We enjoy it and we like to serve it, share it with others.
Mensef is Jordan's national dish, a feast of slow-cooked lamb served on a large platter over rice and thin shrak bread, all drenched in a rich, tangy sauce made from fermented dried yoghurt. Katie was able to sample both coffee and mensef on a recent trip to Jordan.
It was fantastic. So the food while we were there was absolutely exceptional and the coffee was very good. It was very strong and had a smoky flavour, which was really, really lovely.
Katie witnessed firsthand the work the Petra National Trust are doing with young people, highlighting to them the value of their heritage and training them in traditional skills and crafts.
We had a fantastic evening where we went over to
Beit Yaish.
Yes, and we also got to meet a lot of the students that took part and they created these beautiful ceramic fish which they gave us, which was really, really lovely, and I've been treasuring mine ever since.
Thousands of children have been trained up in courses on the skills conserving heritage, and even as entrepreneurs working in the heritage arena, many come from challenging backgrounds.
We make sure that we include children with disabilities. We work with the local communities that also include Syrian refugees.
Jordanians of all ages travelled large distances from around the country to meet Katie and her colleagues and share their skills and Jordanian heritage.
Within that evening, we heard about the amazing people and their achievements within their time. It was really, really inspiring, and their organisation is fantastic.
Thank you.
Now it's time for the Jordanians to meet a select group of National Saturday Club students who have been on a 20-week course learning skills at Coleshill and Buscott, such as blacksmithing, silversmithing and lime plastering.
My name is Harry Stokes and I'm a silversmith and engraver. I make boxes and I make vessels. There'll be some candlesticks on the way soon, and all made traditionally, all made by hand by me.
Harry is in charge of a group of young teenagers who are all learning the English heritage skills.
Today they are working on chasing, which is an ancient technique, essentially selectively denting metal to create an image.
Chasing used to be on the school curriculum, but it was cut many years ago and was a skill at risk of being forgotten.
Well, so chasing specifically, you're looking back at ancient Egypt. As long as metal has been worked, it's been worked by chasing. It's huge because within our culture, it's become something which for a very long time we were really revered for. English silverware and English cutlery, especially hand-forged in Sheffield, is the best. So to keep a part of that alive and developing even more so is a huge part of our culture.
The cross-cultural conversation is also alive in the skill of chasing.
Chasing will be done in Jordan, so for some of them this is familiar. We were talking about style and how it's developed differently in different countries, so hopefully for them they go back and they say, I know how that's done, and that's strange, they do it slightly differently in the UK, and it starts cross-pollinating.
The young people shared what it meant to them to be the hope, to carry vital English heritage skills such as chasing forwards.
It's quite interesting. Over the last year I've learned so much, like almost forgotten crafts like blacksmithing and silversmithing. It's really cool.
I'm a historian, so all these heritage skills are something that I'll carry along with me forever and I'll use them for the rest of my life.
And the Petra National Trust team were enjoying partaking in the silversmithing too. Myrna reflects on the experience.
It was really wonderful. I just wanted to focus on the work I was doing and enjoy it. Listening to the hammers takes you back to our ancestors, and it is actually really inspiring to be able to practice such arts. Well, I'm definitely keeping the piece I worked on.
Good.
Katie and Myrna both expressed how much they have learned from each other and are now making plans to further connect the youth in Jordan and in the UK.
That would be really wonderful if we can implement similar activities and also maybe do a little bit of research about Coleshill. Maybe you can do the same about Assault, World Heritage City, and build bridges between youth in Jordan and the UK.
Yeah, that would be really, really wonderful to achieve.
From William Banks' explorations in the Middle East over 200 years ago to the present day, relationships between Jordan and the UK young people are being empowered with a sense of shared history and the need to preserve our legacy, working together to adapt our heritage buildings and crafts to deal with the effects of climate change. Thanks for joining me for this special episode. Please do rate, review, and follow us on your favourite podcast app. And why not check out our other nature podcast, Wild Tales with Rosie Holdsworth. I'll be back soon with another podcast and our usual series, Back When. See you then.
This episode was brought to you by the International National Trusts Organisation, also known as INTO. INTO is a global network which brings together heritage organisations from all across the world, working collectively to protect and celebrate cultural and natural heritage. This recording was made possible through INTO's Withstanding Change project, which has been funded by the British Council's Cultural Protection Fund. The project helps communities and places adapt to climate change through restoring and safeguarding heritage. If you'd like to learn more or to get involved, visit us at www.into.org. Special thanks to the Petra National Trust for their shared knowledge and partnership.